Do not become so lost in your own belief that you deny the beliefs of others. Ibn Arabi. The awakening of the soul does not always arrive with thunder, nor with the brightness of 1,000 suns. Sometimes it begins quietly, with a whisper that challenges your certainty. You hear it like a soft knock at the door of your heart. Are you so sure that your truth is the only truth? And in that moment, the walls you thought were protecting your faith may begin to feel like prison bars. Ibn Arabi's words come like a key to unlock those bars, inviting you into a wider horizon where faith is not a cage, but a vast sky. You see, the danger of faith is not in having it, but in holding it so tightly that you strangle its spirit. When you are so convinced that your own belief is the only right path, you turn your gaze away from the infinite ways the divine can be reflected in creation. You forget that God is greater than your imagination, greater than your tradition, even greater than the words you speak in prayer. Faith, when closed upon itself, becomes arrogance. Faith, when open to the mystery of others, becomes love. Ibn Arabi was called Al-Sheikh Al-Akbar, the great master, not because he claimed superiority, but because he saw the divine in everything. His vision was vast, like an ocean that refuses no river. He taught that each faith is a mirror, each soul a window, each belief a doorway to the one. And so he warned, do not become so drunk on your own wine that you despise the water of another. For in the end, the source is the same. Think of the sun. It shines its light on every house, every street, every mountain, every ocean. Does the sun ask what language you pray in? Does it choose one roof to bless and another to abandon? No, it pours its light freely, and only the closed shutters remain in darkness. Ibn Arabi invites you to open your shutters, to see how light falls even on those who walk differently than you, to realize that when you deny the belief of another, you are denying the vastness of God. But I know this is not easy. You live in a world where identity is built on difference, where religions compete like merchants in the marketplace, each claiming, my goods are the purest, my path the safest. From childhood, perhaps, you were told, this is the truth, and outside it, there is nothing but error. Those words carved deep lines into your heart. So when you hear that someone prays in another way, or speaks of God with other names, something inside you resists. You feel threatened. You think, if they are right, then what of me? This fear is the seed of division. But what if you could look deeper? What if you could hear beyond the words into the longing behind them? The longing for safety, for love, for meaning, for home. That longing is the same in every soul. Rumi said, the lamps are different, but the light is the same. And Yunus Emre sang, come, let us be friends for once. Let us make life easy on us. Let us be lovers and loved ones. The earth shall be left to no one. These voices are not calling you to abandon your belief, but to expand it until it embraces the humanity of all. Let me tell you a story. There was once a dervish who walked from village to village. In one town, he was asked, tell us, master, which religion is true? The dervish looked at the well in the center of the square and said, this well has one water, but many buckets. Each bucket is lowered, each draws water. If you argue about which bucket is best, you remain thirsty. If you drink, you live." The villagers were silent, for they understood. The purpose of belief is not to prove superiority, but to quench the thirst of the soul. Now, my friend, look at your own life. How many times have you judged someone because they walked another road? How many times have you dismissed the prayer of another because it was not in your tongue? And how many times have you hidden behind the shield of your own certainty, afraid that if you looked too closely at another path, your own faith might tremble? Do not be ashamed. This is human. But Ibn Arabi's wisdom asks you to move beyond this fear, to see that God is not smaller than your certainty. God is larger than your doubt, larger than your question, even larger than your denial. Modern life tempts you into camps. On your screens, in your news, in your social circles, you are told, choose a side, belong here and despise there, believe this and reject that. But the heart is not built for sides. It is built for vastness. When you let your heart shrink into a flag or a slogan, you suffocate its capacity to love. Arabi whispers, open the heart again. Allow yourself to see God in the eyes of the stranger, in the voice of the other, in the silence between arguments. Do not misunderstand me. This is not about abandoning your faith. Hold to your prayer. Keep your rituals. Love the tradition that has carried you. But let that love make you generous, not narrow. Let it make you soft, not hard. True faith does not fear the other. It recognizes the other as a reflection of God's endless creativity. Rumi wrote, I go to the church, the mosque, and the temple, and I see the same altar. Can you feel the freedom in these words? To walk into every space without fear because the beloved is everywhere? Perhaps you ask, but if I honor all beliefs, will I not lose myself? No, my friend. You do not lose yourself by recognizing the beauty of another. You lose yourself when you build walls so high that no light enters. When you honor the truth in another, your own truth grows brighter. It is like a candle lighting another candle. The first candle does not lose its flame. Instead, the room grows more luminous. Let me bring you closer to the modern moment. Imagine you are scrolling through your phone. You see a friend post about meditation, another post about church, another about science, another about nothing at all. You are tempted to judge, this is wrong, that is misguided, this one is empty. And yet, what if you paused? What if you asked, what longing moves in them? What pain are they healing? What truth are they reaching for? Suddenly, instead of judgment, compassion awakens. Instead of division, you feel connection. And is this not the essence of the Sufi path? To see with the eye of the heart? Rumi says, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. That field is not about abandoning your path. It is about stepping into a space where the soul is free to recognize love wherever it shines. Ibn Arabi's words are the same invitation. Do not be so lost in your own belief that you deny the field itself. If you do, you may miss the beloved who is walking towards you from the direction you did not expect. There is another story. A man came to Yunus Emre and asked, which way to God is shortest? Yunus Emre replied, love all creation for the Creator's sake. The man said, even those who do not believe as I do? Yunus smiled, especially them, for it is harder and therefore truer. Do you see? The hardest love is the love that proves your faith is real.
So when Ibn Arabi says, "Do not become so lost in your own belief that you deny the beliefs of others," he is not asking you to dilute your faith. He is asking you to let your faith breathe, to trust that God is not threatened by diversity, to believe that love is a greater proof of devotion than argument. The path of Sufism is not about winning debates. It is about expanding the heart until it can hold the world. Now, I ask you, where in your life have you closed the door on another's faith? Where have you thought, they cannot be right because I am right? Can you feel how small that space becomes? But imagine opening the door. Imagine seeing their belief as another color in the tapestry, another instrument in the orchestra. Suddenly, life is richer, the divine more majestic. You are no longer trapped in a single room, but standing in a palace with countless halls. And yet, the ego resists. It whispers, "If I accept another's belief, does it mean I am wrong?" But listen carefully. Truth is not a competition. The ocean does not argue with the river. The sky does not fear the stars. In the same way, your faith loses nothing when you acknowledge the sincerity of another seeker. Instead, it becomes more compassionate, more spacious, more radiant. Pause here and breathe. Feel the weight of your certainty. Feel also the invitation of openness. Which brings you more peace? Which draws you closer to love? The path of Sufism is always the path that leads to more love, not less. Sometimes the mind clings to its certainties because it is afraid of the unknown. You fear that if you let another belief exist beside yours, the ground beneath you will shake. But listen, my friend, the ground is not beneath you, it is within you. The true foundation is not a system of thought, but the presence of God in your heart. And that presence does not vanish when you acknowledge the sincerity of another seeker. It deepens because you realize that God is not only within you, but within them as well. Think of the prophets. Each came to a people. Each spoke in the language of their time. Each carried the fragrance of the same garden. Were they in competition with one another? No, they were like brothers, each carrying a lamp lit from the same fire. Ibn Arabi often wrote that every revelation is a garment tailored for a community, but the body beneath the garment is the same. To deny another's garment is to deny the body itself. Can you see how generous this vision is? It does not diminish your love for your tradition. Instead, it allows you to see the unity beneath diversity. There was once a man who loved the rose so much that he despised every other flower. He thought the tulip was inferior, the lily unnecessary, the jasmine a distraction. One day he came into a garden where roses did not grow. His heart grew bitter, and he saw nothing but emptiness. But another traveler came, and when he saw the tulips and lilies, he fell to his knees, saying, "The Beloved has adorned this place with beauty." Which man do you wish to be? The one who curses when his flower is absent, or the one who recognizes beauty in all forms? Ibn Arabi is teaching you to be the second traveler. Now, let us speak of love. True love never demands sameness. If you love someone, do you require them to be exactly like you? No, you delight in their difference, in their unique way of being. The beloved of the universe delights in diversity too. That is why there are countless languages, faces, and paths. To deny another's faith is to deny the artistry of the divine. To embrace it is to celebrate God's creativity. As Rumi said, "Be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop." Let go of the rigidity that insists only your way is alive. The tree welcomes every season, and so should you. In modern times, you see wars of ideology everywhere. People fight not only with weapons, but with words, with posts, with debates. Families are divided, friendships broken, because one says, "I am right," and the other says, "No, I am." But what if both paused and said, "Let us be together in love, even if we walk differently"? Imagine the healing that would come. Imagine how many wounds would close. Ibn Arabi's wisdom is not just for mystics and monasteries. It is medicine for your everyday life, for your family, your community, your online spaces. Perhaps you wonder, if I open myself to every belief, do I not risk being lost? No, you do not get lost by honoring another. You get lost when you harden your heart, when you build walls so thick that even your own soul cannot breathe. When you open yourself, you are not drifting, you are expanding. You are becoming more whole, not less. The sea does not lose its identity when it welcomes the rivers. It becomes greater. Let me share another tale. A king once asked a sage, "How can I know which religion is true?" The sage brought him to a garden. There were roses, tulips, violets, each with its fragrance. The sage said, "Smell them all. Which is true?" The king laughed. "Each is true in its own beauty." The sage nodded. "So it is with the paths to God." This is the vision Ibn Arabi carried, a vision that dissolves arrogance and awakens humility. You see, arrogance is the real danger. When you deny the belief of another, you are not protecting your faith, you are protecting your ego. The ego loves to feel superior. It loves to stand tall and say, "I know, you do not. I am chosen, you are rejected." But faith is not a weapon for the ego. Faith is a door to surrender, a surrender that makes you gentle, not proud. Rumi reminds you, "Sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment." Cleverness argues. Bewilderment bows before the mystery that is too vast for any one belief to contain. Now, look at your relationships. How many arguments have you had, not only about religion, but about opinions, about choices, about ways of living? How often have you insisted that your view is the only right one? And how much peace has that insistence brought you? Usually it brings only more division, more loneliness. But when you soften, when you say, "I honor your path, even if it is not mine," suddenly the heart opens, connection returns, love flows again. Think of Yunus Emre's words, "We love the created for the Creator's sake." If you truly love God, how can you despise what God has created? Even the one who believes differently is still a work of divine art. When you look at them with disdain, you are refusing the artist's masterpiece. When you look with love, you are bowing before the artist's endless skill. There is something liberating in this vision. Imagine no longer carrying the burden of defending your faith against every difference. Imagine instead resting in the vastness of God, knowing that truth is not fragile, that love is never threatened. You become lighter, freer, more at peace. This is not weakness. This is strength, the kind of strength that does not need to prove itself. The river does not argue with the stone. It simply flows around it and continues toward the sea. Perhaps you are thinking, but what about evil? What about lies? Should I honor them too? No. Ibn Arabi is not calling you to embrace falsehood or injustice. He is calling you to recognize sincerity wherever it exists, even when it looks different from you. He is calling you to fight arrogance, not truth, to stand against cruelty, not diversity. When another seeks the divine in their way, honor their longing, even if their words are not yours. Love recognizes love, even in unfamiliar garments.
There was once a mystic who entered a temple of another faith. His students were shocked. They asked, "Master, why do you pray here? This is not our place." The mystic smiled and said, "Wherever I bow, it is to the One." This is the secret. God does not belong to a building, a language, or a doctrine. God belongs to the heart that surrenders. When you understand this, you become free to love across boundaries. Bring this to your daily life. When you meet someone who speaks differently of God, or perhaps does not speak of God at all, listen for the longing beneath their words. Maybe their belief is kindness. Maybe their faith is justice. Maybe their prayer is silence. Do not rush to dismiss them. Ask instead, how is the beloved showing a face through this soul? This question changes everything. It turns judgment into curiosity, distance into intimacy. And let us not forget, every soul is on a journey. Perhaps today someone denies what you affirm, but tomorrow their heart may turn. Or perhaps you yourself may shift. Have you not changed before? Have you not once believed differently than you do now? Then how can you deny the possibility of growth in others? Ibn Arabi knew this. The path is alive, always moving. Do not trap it in your own rigid walls. So, my friend, when you feel the temptation to say, "Only my way is true," pause, breathe. Remember the ocean. Remember the garden. Remember the light that shines through every window. And ask yourself, do I want to shrink God to my own image? Or do I want to be enlarged by God's infinity? The answer is clear. Choose infinity. Choose love. As we come to the close of this reflection, let your heart rest in hope. The divisions of the world are many, but the unity of the soul is deeper. The wars of ideology may roar, but the whisper of love is stronger. Ibn Arabi's words are not only wisdom for the past, but they are a compass for today. Do not lose yourself so deeply in your own belief that you cannot honor another. Keep your faith, but let it make you spacious. Keep your tradition, but let it make you gentle. Keep your devotion, but let it make you radiant with love. And now, I turn to you. If these words stir something in your heart, let it not remain silent. Share it, speak it, live it. And if you feel this truth rising within you, write in the comments, "I choose love beyond belief." Let this be your testimony, not of abandoning your faith, but of enlarging it. And if this journey speaks to you, do not walk it alone. Subscribe to this channel, because together we walk the path of awakening. Each video is another step, another reminder that you are not lost. You are not alone. You are on the way. And when the next message comes, be there to receive it, for the beloved is always calling. Let us finish with the calm assurance that you are held, that even when you struggle with difference, even when you fear losing yourself, the divine is carrying you. You are safe in the vastness. You are cherished in the diversity. You are beloved beyond words. Take a breath now and let peace settle in your heart, for the path is wide, the journey is shared, and love is endless. Sometimes the heart resists because it has been wounded. Perhaps someone from another belief mocked you or rejected you or caused you pain. And so you close the door, thinking, if their faith brings such harshness, then I want nothing of it. But pause, dear one. The cruelty was not faith itself. It was the shadow of ego hiding behind faith. Do not judge the ocean by the salt on one shore. There are always souls who misuse belief as a weapon, yet the truth remains untouched. If you close yourself because of the wound, you only deepen the separation. Healing comes when you see beyond the shadow into the light that is always there. There is a story of a mystic who entered a marketplace. Two men were arguing violently about religion. Each shouted so loudly that no one else could speak. The mystic stood between them and said, "Brothers, you are both right and you are both wrong. Right because you love God enough to defend your path. Wrong because you think God needs defending." The marketplace fell silent. And in that silence, people felt a peace greater than any argument. The mystic then whispered, "The beloved is not honored by your noise, but by your gentleness." This is the wisdom Ibn Arabi offers you, to recognize that God is not fragile and your certainty is not proof of devotion. Love is. Think of modern life again. You meet colleagues who come from different traditions, neighbors who celebrate different holidays, friends who speak of spirituality in ways that are foreign to you. The temptation is to retreat, to stay only among those who mirror you. But what happens when you open instead? When you listen without fear? You discover that every person carries a secret treasure. Some carry patience, others courage, others compassion. If you dismiss them because their belief is not yours, you only miss the gift they bring into your life. But if you receive them, your own faith grows richer because you see God's face in yet another form. Rumi once said, "Try to accept the changing seasons of your heart, even if you do not understand them." In the same way, accept the seasons of humanity. The winter of one soul may be the spring of another. The prayer of one may be the silence of another. The important thing is not uniformity, but sincerity. A tree does not demand that every branch bear the same leaf, yet all branches belong to the same trunk. Can you feel the relief in this image? You do not need to control or deny another's branch. You only need remain rooted in love, and the branches will harmonize themselves. Let me offer you another parable. A traveler once found himself at a crossroads with 4 paths. On each road, people invited him, saying, "Our path is the only true one." The traveler hesitated until an old woman sitting by the well said, "All these roads lead to the mountain, and the mountain holds the beloved. Do not waste your life in dispute at the crossroads. Choose a road with sincerity, but do not despise the others, for they too climb toward the summit." This is the essence of Ibn Arabi's teaching. Walk your path with devotion, but do not curse the other roads. Now ask yourself, how often do you waste energy defending your belief when that energy could be spent deepening it? When you argue endlessly, you become drained, anxious, divided. But when you practice love, you are nourished, expanded, uplifted. Arrogance shrinks the soul. Generosity enlarges it. Which life do you want to live? Which fragrance do you want to leave behind? When you die, people will not remember the debates you won. They will remember whether you were kind. They will remember whether your presence made them feel closer to love or further from it. Even in your own heart, there are many voices. At times you are certain, at times you are doubtful, at times you are weary. Do you deny the voices that differ from your certainty? Or do you welcome them, knowing that the soul is vast enough to hold contradictions? If you can practice this openness with yourself, it becomes easier to practice it with others. Ibn Arabi invites you not only to honor the beliefs outside of you, but also the shifting landscapes within you. Faith that allows no question is brittle. Faith that welcomes the question grows unshakable because it rests not on fear, but on love. Remember Yunus Emre. The essence of the 4 books is found in one word: love. If love is the essence, then whatever denies love denies the essence. To scorn another's belief is to scorn the possibility of love hidden in them. To honor it is to say, even if I do not understand your way, I bless the longing that drives you. This attitude transforms the world. Imagine if every person carried such generosity, how many wars would end, how many wounds would heal, how many lonely souls would finally feel seen. And here is a gentle practice for your daily life. Next time you meet someone from a different faith, instead of asking, "How are we different?" ask, "What do we share?" Perhaps you both love your children. Perhaps you both long for peace. Perhaps you both cry in the night when life feels heavy. These are the true prayers that bind humanity together. When you meet in that place, belief becomes not a wall, but a bridge. This is the Sufi way, to meet not in ideas, but in hearts.
So, beloved soul, take this teaching into your days. Do not let fear shrink you. Do not let arrogance harden you. Let Ibn Arabi's wisdom soften your gaze so that everywhere you look, you see another reflection of the beloved. And if ever you feel yourself slipping back into judgment, pause and whisper, "The light is one, the lamps are many." Let that reminder return you to the field where love is the only truth. And now, if your heart feels stirred, let it be known. Write in the comments, "I see God in every path." This is not surrender of your belief, but expansion of it. And if this journey strengthens you, subscribe and stay with us, for you are not alone in seeking the wide sky of love. Together, we learn to walk gently, to see widely, to love deeply. The beloved is always near, waiting to be found in the eyes of the other.